Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm No02. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for joining me on this beginner's guide to team games, to 2v2s, to 4v4s, and everything in between. I have here in this video a build order, one build order per faction of 4 in total, so that no matter what nation that you would like to represent and play as in those team games, that you will have a starter build order. The key thing about these build orders is that they all sort of work in the same vein, that we're going to be sort of playing around and building around artillery, because in team games, the sort of, at least in the lower levels, defense structures, defensive things, garrisoning machine guns, that seems to be the sort of overall play style that you encounter a lot. A lot of attempts to sort of just like draw a line in the middle, and everyone's sort of happy with that middle line. We're not about that. We want to have some tools that allow us to push and attack and make plays. That's what this is all about between all of these 4 factions. You'll sort of see the theme as we go through all of it here, as well as just allow you the opportunity to push lots of buttons that use the abilities to sort of notice and recognize how different units offer different potential strategies throughout your match and things like that. We have here the USF Airborne. Let's talk about the battle group real quick. You can't see it. The only thing that you need to worry about with this battle group is that your very first command point has to go to unlocking the paratrooper. Excuse me. I've had a bad cough for a while. Your very first command point has to go to unlocking the paratrooper. At which point, do whatever you want with your command points. Now, the next important thing that we need to understand here is I talked about this in my like the quad Pathfinder opener that a lot of like USF players have been doing, like in 1v1s. Here, something very important to understand here. Building a scout and then turning it into a Pathfinder is cheaper than upgrading the Pathfinders and then building the Pathfinder. I won't go through the numbers and the details, but the point is here, when you first begin your match, build a scout from your HQ immediately, then go to your command battle group, then select your airborne battle group, then select the Pathfinder upgrade. It's a little bit cheaper. It saves you like 15 manpower. Not a big deal, but it's free. It's free. It's a free 15 manpower or whatever. So take it. It's yours. Next, build your barracks, and you'll build 2 riflemen out of it, one after the other. And then thirdly, you'll build a mortar. We sort of, once we have the mortar, we'll have 2 Pathfinders, 2 riflemen, and a mortar, and you'll have lots of tools for flares, smoke, and the ability to sort of put pressure on enemy weapons teams and attack like areas where they're trying to basically dig in, giving a lot of opportunity to pressure an opponent who is being passive. Secondly, if they try to attack you because you're slowly mortaring them or grinding them away, the Pathfinders are great for let the riflemen engage, and then the Pathfinders will show up and they can launch little grenades and lots of smoke, and it's very, very sort of robust. Like, for what you have, you can be very durable and very aggressive in a way, or sort of more grindy, so long as your mortar is firing. The key is getting your mortar to just keep shooting at stuff all the time. That's the goal. Next, we'll tech into the HQ infantry support, and around this time, you should be getting your 1 command point and get your paratrooper. Now, what's really important about the paratrooper is that this is going to be our only means of dealing with light vehicles and medium vehicles for a little bit of time here. We're sort of cutting a corner to a degree by uh, skipping the weapon support center, so we don't have access to the 75 millimeter cannon on the truck bed. But basically, the paratrooper needs to be upgraded with the bazookas in a timely fashion. So be a little stingy with the Pathfinder grenades because you might burn through your munitions too quickly, especially if you see your opponent is building some light vehicles, or if you're going up against like double DAC as your 2 opponents. So just keep that in mind. The paratrooper has to turn into our anti-vehicle means. We'll pick up our 3rd rifleman, then we'll get our bar upgrade and our munition surplus. And you should be able to get both of these upgrades relatively like close to each other. As soon as you get the manpower and the fuel for bar upgrade, you hit that first. And then while the bar is upgrading, You should be able to then pick up the munition surplus upgrade as well, so that when you do get the bar upgraded finished, make sure that you upgrade your rifleman after the munition surplus. So the bar upgrade for the rifleman only costs half of its original price, 30 munitions each. Very, very nice. Because between the two Pathfinders and the things that the paratrooper can throw and the paratrooper's bazooka upgrades, you're going to be a little pressed for munitions. Munition surplus will help you get there way, 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 way easier. From there, you'll build your motor pool into a chaffee. And now this kind of takes into account that you're going to be taking damage quite a bit. If things are going really, really well, you'll be able to actually fit in a unit purchase in between step 7 and step 8. But I found in really aggressive games where things were happening and you were fighting a lot of times, it didn't really always happen like that so cleanly. So just keep that in mind. But really, the next step that you want to hit is getting a chaffee, so that between your paratrooper and your chaffee, you'll have some measure of like anti-vehicle capabilities, because we really don't have too much. USF is a little bit weak in that area in general. So we want the chaffee as quickly as possible. A sort of sooner fix, if for whatever reason your fuel is low, consider the once you get the motor pool, you can also purchase the anti-tank weapon team there as well. Get the med station, and at which point, between all of this, you got a nice little well-rounded army that's capable of pushing into enemy trenches, or at the very least, sort of mortaring away at it, weakening it, and sort of offering you the opportunity to make plays with the flares and the scout smoke and things like that. From here, you can get a second mortar, upgrade into the tank factory, get some Hellcats, get some Shermans, things like that. Play it by here. But this build order here should take you to about 10 to 15 minutes worth of time of the match. Next, we have the Wehrmacht. You're going to open up with getting the infantry company as quickly as possible, double grenadier. Oh, but before we talk about that, breakthrough battle group. This is the battle group that lets you upgrade your grenadiers with some MP40s. Basically taking the sort of like more mid-range, long-range capabilities of grenadiers and turning you more into a close-range infantry unit. But what's really important about it is that it upgrades, it gives it an upgraded grenade throw. Each member throws a grenade, and they can sprint. The sprint does cost munitions, which kind of sucks, but this is sort of the ideal idea of we'll have a mortar, but we'll have infantry that likes to push, like to be aggressive. Just like the riflemen tend to get them like to be mid to close range anyways, because they have a Thompson in their base kit. Same thing with the Grenadiers here. We're setting up the Grenadiers so that they can be that sort of aggressive infantry. They want to get in there. They can sprint in there. They throw lots of grenades. All the while, the mortar is plucking away. My suggestion for the breakthrough battle group here, the MP40 upgrade is free. I would actually recommend trying out spending all of your command points to get to the Tiger tank as quickly as possible. And that'll make sense when you look at the battle group, because potentially by the time you're done with this build order, there might be some options for just building more infantry and rounding out to the Tiger tank and things like that. Or at the very least, just getting the Tiger tank onto the battlefield as quickly as possible. It could be an option for you in the later parts of a match. But other than that, infantry company, double grenadier, followed by then a mortar and a third grenadier. And as you're getting your third grenadier, you should be really, really close to having 40 fuel, I believe, which is what it costs. To get the Panzer Grenadier Company, we skipped the Jaegers. Skipping the Jaegers here, we get the 251 medium carrier. And now here's some play around. Here's some food for thought for you in regards to how to use this unit. The 251 medium carrier does one of three things for us in a combination of the so. One, it can reinforce our units, and thus the grenadiers, when they vet up, can heal themselves. So all they need now is reinforcements, which the carrier can do, and you can keep your infantry on the battlefield for a very long time. You don't need to hard retreat them all the time, allowing you to potentially be very aggressive with your infantry. Excuse me, horrible cough. Allowing you to be aggressive with your infantry and keep them on the battle lines for longer. In addition to that, you can load the mortar up into it. The mortar doesn't shoot out of it, but you can have a mortar team that's more mobile, making sure that your grenadiers, when they're getting in the fights, will always have that mortar support, and you have to wait for the mortar to move reposition. And in addition to that, the medium carrier can upgrade itself with the munitions upgrade into like a little mobile mortar thing where it can shoot a little mortar. It's got a smoke barrage, it's got a high explosive barrage. And so now you can have like your standard mortar and a little more mobile mortar car if you'd like. Some options there to consider and play around with. Fourth Grenadier. Fourth Grenadier, and then we get the Support Elements Panzer Grenadier Company. This is the upgrade for the Panzer Grenadier Company building that unlocks the Stug 3G assault gun, which you will purchase next. And then you'll get your third potential source of artillery with the 42 rocket launcher, big old fat juicy barrage. No opportunities for your opponents to be defensive, just artillery into artillery with infantry that can sprint and get into the battle really quickly. Very, very cool. Round it out with your med station, because at some point you'll probably want to upgrade the medium carrier into the like mortar carriage thing that it is. It's a lot of fun. This is actually a really fun battle group. I had a lot of fun messing around and playing with this. And again, just a lot of tools and options to sort of play around with. A lot of things to learn here. Next is the DAC, and we'll open up with a Panzer Pioneer. And then, I keep forgetting, battle group. Italian combined arms here. Now, the upgrade for the Bersaglieri is free, so obviously we'll choose that. But what's really important about this battle group and this particular build order is that your first 3 command points, you cannot spend them. Your first 3 command points have to go to unlocking the Semovante da 7518. That's where your first 3 command points have to go. I would then also recommend that your next bit of command points goes to unlocking the Caro Armato M1340 light tank. I will say though that if you don't want to do the light tank here, after you get the Semovante unlock, you can then spend the rest of your command points upgrading the Bersaglieri. But otherwise, I would say, but absolutely you need to have the Semovante unlocked sort of around this time in the build order, because it's going to be our only main means of dealing with enemy armor for a little while. And it's not the most ideal call in for dealing with armor, but it does it can work. It does the job. But which is why I would really recommend following it up with the Caro Armato, because this is a great light tank that can punch above its weight class incredibly well. But the build order goes Panzer Pioneer. 2 Panzer Pioneers. I actually recommend eventually upgrading them with the grenade launcher, sort of making them nice long range, sort of like pseudo moving artillery units. It's like a sort of RNG heavy explosive AoE thing, but great for once the Bersaglieri get into the battle. They show up and reinforce it, and they're great at just dealing splash damage to enemies and things like that. Second, get your Panzer Pioneer, and then 2 Bersaglieri call-ins as sort of our main support, as our main line infantry. From there, we'll get light support company, a machine gun team, and I tend to find that the Panzer Pioneers and the machine gun team work really well together. Imagine units getting suppressed and then they get launched at them as the grenade launchers, but it's really important to note that don't be super passive with the machine gun team. You use it to reinforce your attacks. We're basically sort of just buying time until we can get our artillery going. Upgrade the light support company with the fire support elements. Purchase a med truck. Then you'll get the 250 upgrade, which allows you to transform the 250 into another mortar car. From there, you'll get the LEIG 18 mechanized group. It's like 200 manpower, and it gives you a 250 half track and the LEIG 18 mortar team. Like in a single button push, you get 2 units of artillery. Comes around like the 6 to 7 minute mark ish sort of area of time. And as that 250 is driving out, towing the LEIG 18 mortar team, you can start upgrading the 250 half track into the mortar, because we've already gotten the 250 upgrade. From there, we will then get the 442 rocket launcher. That's not in that. Between 7 and 8, you need to get the next building that allows you to unlock the 42 rocket launcher. Or is this a mistake? Oh no. This might be partially the Wehrmacht build order. From here, the most important thing to get is the Semovante Da 7818 Colin. Get your third Bersolari infantry. Get the Caro Armato M13 light tank. And from there, you'll have some nice frontline infantry, some nice backline infantry, two means of artillery. The LE IG-18 has an insane range on it. Insane range on it. Highly recommend checking it out, getting used to using it. No enemies can be defensive against you. Finally, the British Forces Indian Artillery battle group here. The most important thing about this particular battle group is one, getting the upgrade, which I believe is called Volunteers, which reduces the amount it costs to reinforce your infantry. It's incredibly powerful, hugely powerful. But what's nice about the Indian Artillery battle group is that it's got a lot of like artillery call-in options in it already. And in addition to that, there is in the same column of the on the left side, you're going to want to work your way down as quickly as possible to getting the what is it? What's the word? The pillage ability, which says that every time you eliminate an enemy infantry model or unit, you get munitions, and every time you kill an enemy vehicle, you get fuel. It's insane. It's unbelievably powerful. So work your way to that, and once you have that, you'll be able to call in all sorts of munition-based things and artillery, and it's insane. So, first you'll build the section command post, and then 2 infantry section units out of it, followed by a mortar, and then you'll build 2 more infantry section units as they come available. We'll follow it up by building the platoon command post. We'll get the Stuart light tank upgrade, and then we'll build an M3 Stuart light tank. And really, until you get to this point, your only means of dealing with enemy vehicles is going to be the boys rifle section upgrade. Currently, as the making of this video, the boys rifle upgrade is bugged. It's not dealing as much damage as it should, it seems like. Good luck. Hopefully it won't be too long until that's fixed. But really, the infantry section are super flexible and great in how they can sort of deal with enemy vehicles at a decent range. Plus, the Stuart light tank is great and sort of basically just back up your infantry section, basically buying us time to get artillery up and going. We'll get the Bishop upgrade next, and then the Bishop self-propelled artillery. This is a really fun unit to use. A kind of hard unit to use. You have to make sure that you're almost using this unit's artillery barrage almost constantly on cooldown. As it vets up, it becomes rather insane as far as how much damage it can potentially deal. Great for attacking enemy positions, great for stopping enemy pushes if you lead your shots with it. Very, very cool. From there, I recommend getting the 6-pounder anti-tank gun team because it's just a long little journey for us to get to our Crusaders. Then we'll pick up an MG team. Then you'll build the company command post. And from there, you'll build Crusaders and you'll upgrade them with a 6-pounder so that you can deal with medium and heavy armor. And you'll keep building Crusaders until you win or you die. And this should take you somewhere between like the 15 to 20 minute mark of any particular match. Very fun build. So, what do you guys think? Hopefully, this all makes sense. I appreciate your guys' time listening and watching. And let me know what you think in the comments about these builds, how they work for you. It's not super important that the builds are actually like the most meta, but all of the builds are based around the idea that we want opportunities to be aggressive. We want opportunities to keep harassing our opponent. It's all sort of founded around artillery, one way or the other, or having infantry that can get into the thick of it and stick it to the Jerry or whatever. So, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the future.